All right, let's bring in Michael Duncan and John Ashbrook, co-hosts of the Ruthless Podcast. They both work in Washington. Great to have both of you with us. Welcome to you. Michael Duncan, let me start with you. What's your reaction when you listen to Brandon Johnson talk about the president there?
I think it's remarkable how the Black leadership in some of these major Democratic cities has failed the Black residents of those cities. You look at a place like Washington, D.C., and this federal crackdown, 96% of Black residents of Washington, D.C. make up the crime stats for both suspects and victims of homicides. And you're going to blame Donald Trump for that. Donald Trump is a racist. Well, what are you doing for the Black community in Washington, D.C.?
Let me play this. These are D.C. residents reacting to this changing of the leadership, at least for 30 days in D.C., where crime is concerned. Watch this.
We need all the protection that we can get in the city because the city is really getting dangerous. A person like me at this age, I have to make sure to come home before sundown.
What he really means is cracking down on the residents of the city, Native Washingtonians, Black people, poor people.
I don't think it's necessary. I do think there needs to be some change within Metropolitan PD because safety is an issue.
John Ashbrook, your reaction. Michael just spoke about residents in the city of D.C. and other places. What do you say to that as you listen to some of those voices?
Yeah, Martha, I will tell you, people living in these cities just want to be safe. They just want to raise their families. They just want to go to the grocery and go to restaurants and not have to look over their shoulders. You played a clip in the previous segment from a network that really nobody watches. There was an analyst on MSNBC this morning who said that he's more concerned about climate change than he is about crime. Well, I'm telling you, Martha, when I walk down the street at night, I'm not looking over my shoulder thinking climate change is going to mug me. I'm worried about somebody committing a crime. And I think that Donald Trump is the first guy to have the temerity and show the leadership that is necessary. You heard what people say. The Democrats are like, I don't know, I know it's a problem, but I'm not going to be the one sticking my neck out. Thank God Donald Trump is sticking his neck out to keep people safe.
And Martha, the other thing I would suggest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I would just suggest, I mean, I know there's a lot of debate on what the statistics actually are, but I would suggest to some of these liberal analysts who, live in Montgomery County or in Arlington, Virginia, that they don't have their finger on the pulse of crime in Washington, D.C. We're a block and a half from the White House. I can tell you crime in the city is bad. It is so bad that there is a commander of the police department in Washington that was suspended. And the police union put out a statement about how they were fudging the numbers on all the crime statistics and urging their captains would show up to the scene of a crime and urge that in the report they put a lesser offense. So the statistics where they are right now, we have no idea how bad crime is in this city. So let's give Donald Trump a chance to turn it around.
So the same, I believe the same analyst that you just mentioned, John, also said this about what he believes Trump's motivation is, President Trump's motivation is. Watch this.
We can't ignore what he is actually trying to do here, which is weaponize this fear of not just this city, but all cities. A lot of America, a lot of places where Donald Trump wins a lot of votes. Our cities absorb your children when you don't love them or you can't keep them because they're gay, because they're trans. You know where they come? Into our loving embrace in cities.
There you go. Interesting theory there, John.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. These liberals are scrambling to explain away these regular people who are like, hey, can you please keep us safe? We really don't want to get our car stolen. We really don't want to get murdered. We just want to live our lives. And they're like, no, this issue, that issue, the next issue. And you hit on something at the very beginning of this segment that I think is so important, Martha. This is happening in cities all over the country, including my hometown of Cincinnati.
Yeah, indeed. And, it really does sort of smack of the same border conversation and what people see with their own eyes and experience when they go outside and feel that they're not safe when they walk down a street is a real thing, regardless of, whether it's up or down. If they feel fearful on the street, you got to give them credit to understand how they are out there. So Michael Duncan and John Ashbrook, great to have you both with us. Hope you'll join us again soon. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.